we alluded to it in regards to it being financial foul play. And yes, the play on words is a simple one, but we feel that it's an effective one because where we're going with this is Real Madrid and Barcelona ordered to repay millions in support from Spanish government from July 4th, 2016. The La Liga giants are two of 7 teams being ordered to pay money back, which they were handed by the state following a European Commission investigation. Spanish authorities have been ordered to reclaim millions of pounds given to Real Madrid and Barcelona in state support. The La Liga juggernauts are among the teams said to have benefited from soft loans, tax breaks and property deals from the government over the past 26 years. Margaret Vestager, the EU competition commissioner, demanded the beginning of repayments today, Monday 11th of July 2016. Using taxpayers' money to finance professional clubs can create unfair competition, Vestager said in a statement. That sounds a little familiar. Anyway, this one of them was. Professional football is a commercial activity with significant money involved, and public money must comply with fair competition rules. Real Madrid are to be forced to pay back 18.4 million euros of state support from a complex land deal which was issued from a local authority in the Spanish capital. It relates to a series of controversial land deals in the 1990s, which included Real Madrid transferring part of their old training ground to city officials as part of the redevelopment of Madrid. In return, Real were handed other plots of land around the city to help them develop, some of which have been reportedly revalued to the financial advantage of the club. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao and Osasuna benefited from a lower corporate tax rate for more than 20 years. They paid back 25% rather than the 30% common for sports firms, and all 4 are being forced to pay back 5 million euros. Valencia, Hercules and Elche are also being forced to return the money the Valencia Institute of Finance handed them following the Brussels investigation. Valencia must pay back 20.4 million euros, whilst Hercules owe 6.1 million euros and Elche 3.7 million euros. Staying with finances, 8th of July 2016 is where we're going. We're going to jump a little forward to jump a little back, because Barcelona, in terms of money, not only them as a club, but their players have been quite busy. But Neymar transfer fraud case dismissed by Madrid court. A Spanish court has dismissed the fraud and corruption case against football superstar Neymar and his father. There's a common thread, players and their fathers here. The case had been brought by the Brazilian investment fund DIS, which formerly owned the transfer rights to the 24-year-old forward. The company claimed it was shortchanged when Neymar transferred from Brazilian club Santos to Barcelona in 2013. Neymar and his father, who acts as his agent, have both denied any wrongdoing. In a separate case, Barcelona were forced to pay a fine of 5.5 million euros, 4.7 million pounds last month because of tax irregularities in Neymar's transfer from Santos. So it's one of them ones. Of course, since moving to the new camp, he's won 2 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Rey trophies, the Champions League, European Super Cup, Spanish Cup, and the Club World Cup as well. But the big news this week in regards to finances and football. From the 6th of July 2016, Lionel Messi handed jail term in Spain for tax fraud. Argentina and Barcelona footballer Lionel Messi has been sentenced to 21 months in prison for tax fraud. His father, Jorge Messi, was also given a jail term for defrauding Spain of 4.1 million euros, 3.5 million pounds between 2007 and 2009. They also faced millions of euros in fines for using tax havens in Belize and Uruguay to conceal earnings from image rights. However, neither man is expected to serve time in jail. Under the Spanish system, prison terms of under 2 years can be served under probation. The footballer and his father were found guilty of 3 counts of tax fraud in Wednesday's ruling by the court in Barcelona. As well as the jail terms, Messi was fined about 2 million euros and his father 1.5 million euros. They made a voluntary 5 million euro corrective payment. I'm going to come back to that in a sec. Equal to the alleged unpaid tax plus interest in August 2014. The sentence can be appealed via the Spanish Supreme Court. Now, FC Barcelona have asked fans to support Lionel Messi, and they've expressed their full support to Lionel Messi and his father in relation to the conviction, and have said the club considers that the player, who has corrected his position with the Spanish tax office, is in no way criminally responsible with regards to the facts underlined in this case. But they also have asked the fans to support to support Lionel Messi as well, and they've set up a campaign in support of him. They actually have set up a hashtag. I think it's We Are All Leo Messi, encouraging all Barca fans to express their sympathy for the greatest footballer in the world, arguably, by voicing their unconditional support on social networks, by basically posting a photo or message with both hands open. Gezzie Fizzle, your view on this, and if the Skypers want to jump in, I've got my view on this. I'm going to come back to it.
Well, I don't even know where to begin. So, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's handle this in reverse. Let's have you have your say, and then you will go back to me. Let's do that.
Do any of the Skypers want to jump in before I go? Because, yeah, it's going to be one of them ones where, yeah... you know what, yeah? You know what? It is one of them ones where footballers and money, footballers and finances, Barcelona, it really does look like at Barcelona financially right now that it is.
It's a fucking circus!
It seems that way. It seems that way because you had Javier Mascherano not more than a month ago who got a suspended sentence for tax evasion. It's like, what is, like, you know, blatantly more footballers are probably guilty of it, but these guys are earning so much. But taking this in reverse order, the Lionel Messi thing, Barcelona coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, use the hashtag We Are All Leo Messi," whilst posting a photo and message with both hands open. Come on, really? I mean, like, people called what's it, the Suarez T-shirt thing at Liverpool really cheesy and bloody just tacky. But this is even worse. I think this is even worse personally. But the fact is, it's one of them ones where it's quite interesting that as well as the jail terms, Messi was fined €2 million and his father €1.5 million, and they made a £5 million voluntary, in inverted commas, corrective payment. So, which equaled the alleged unpaid tax plus interest in 2013. It's kind of like, okay, all right, this is going to be another Jimmy Carr / Gary Barlow. It's going to be another one of these things where they're hiding money in offshore accounts to dodge taxes, just like Rupert Murdoch does, just like Starbucks, I think, were found guilty of too. And I think Subway also with the corporation tax. Coming back to that in a second. It's one of them ones. For me, yeah, the key phrase in all of this is neither man is expected to serve time in jail. And the rich who can afford to buy their way out of everything, they won't serve jail time. And Gary Barlow and Jimmy Carr are two examples of it, where it's like they were found guilty. I think it was either tax evasion or tax fraud. To me, they're both the same thing. So one of them was tax evasion / tax fraud. I think they're basically both the same thing because they are avoiding paying taxes. But for me, it's one of them ones where, yeah, neither man serving jail time. Yeah, that's really a surprise. Yeah, that's really a surprise to these legal systems who let the rich get off with everything.
If I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
So it's one of them ones where, like, I look at some of these situations and I just think to myself,
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Wait a minute, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
That's what I think, because at the end of the day, it legitimately is.
Hey, he stuck his grass.
It really is that these guys can get away with dodging millions of pounds of tax, and the only thing they get is basically the threat of a jail term, which is basically an idle threat because you know they're not going to serve jail time because they're too high profile, and also that threat is only just so that they basically plea bargain. It's like, wait, no, don't send me to jail. Here's the money back plus a little bit of interest. One rule for the rich, one rule for the rest of us. And it is a disgrace. And not even the funny Didier Drogba style disgrace. For me, I mean, that's in regards. I mean, for me, that is in regards to Lionel Messi's situation. Now, the transfer fraud case with Neymar, that was a lot more complex. But in terms of third party ownership, this is the kind of reason why, in my opinion, to an extent, this is a reason why UEFA are trying to get rid of third party ownership of players, so you don't have this kind of crap happening, where entities who own the rights to a player, transfer rights, image rights, whatever, start getting their knickers in a twist when someone moves, and it's like, wait, hold on a minute, we're owed something. Coming back to a disgrace, it's one of them ones. You see all these big companies dodging corporation tax and that stuff, like your Starbucks, Rupert Murdoch and News Corporation. Real Madrid and Barcelona ordered to pay back millions in support from the Spanish government. I've said for a number of years, when Real Madrid had to sell their training ground for 200 million, who did they sell it to? They sold it to the government, who leased it back to them at an extremely discounted rate. That kind of crap is always going to benefit Real Madrid. You look at the loans that they used to buy Kaká and Cristiano Ronaldo. We've discussed this before on PT Live shows. That wasn't their money. That wasn't their money they were using. But with Ronaldo, they're taking half of the guys. Half of that transfer fee. It's one of them was they're making up. Similar to Macho Man Randy Savage, rest in peace. When he went to WCW and took the Slim Jim deal. And the Slim Jim deal basically paid, and Eric Bischoff has said this on the Kayfabe Commentaries release, that it's one of them was that the first year of Randy Savage's deal was basically paid for by the Slim Jim contract. You've got half of Ronaldo's deal basically being paid for by image rights, because Real Madrid, whenever they sign someone, they take half their image rights money. So it's what, and obviously they've marketed him to the moon, and they're selling a crap load of shirts and merch in regards to him, in relation to him. Now, these kind of entities, such as your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's, profiting from dodging these taxes and that kind of thing, it's a disgrace. I mean, Margaret Vestager, the EU competition commissioner, you know what? Demanding the beginning of repayment straight away, good, very good. Happy with that, because using taxpayers' money to finance professional football clubs can create unfair competition, and professional football is a commercial activity with significant money involved, and public money must comply with fair competition rules. Brethren, no. For me, she's spot on both of those quotes, but public money should have nothing to do with football. When you're seeing a £5.136 billion deal just for TV rights happening in the Premier League, I don't want to hear taxpayers' money and public money is being used to fund the professional game at that level. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any club in the Premier League getting bailed out by public money. I don't want to hear them using a pound of public money, because when you're making £5.136 billion as an entity, bugger off and use your own damn money. Use your own damn money to fund your transfers, Real Madrid. Use your own damn money to buy a training ground and develop. Use your own damn money. Don't use public money. And Spain's economy has been in trouble for a good few years. It's one of them was like we were discussing last week about the EU referendum and Brexit and all that. It's a case of football plays by different rules, and it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Real Madrid being forced to pay back 18.4 million euros of state support, good. Should be more, to be honest, but hey, at least it's something. I mean, these clubs, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao, Osasuna, benefiting from a lower corporate tax rate for more than 20 years. Firstly, how has this gone unchecked for 20 years? And secondly, you know what? That is disgraceful. That is disgraceful. It took again. To use Jim Cornette as a quote,
it's a fucking circus!
Really is. Gezzie Fizzle, your view.
Well, I have to say that, in terms of Real Madrid and Barcelona being asked to pay the money back, my biggest thing is this, right? So the football clubs are individual entities, individual businesses in and of themselves, right? or at least that's what we're made to believe. So if that is the case, and in some cases with some clubs, usually most of those in the lower levels, that is the case, they shouldn't have had access to that money anyway. So them being asked to give it back doesn't surprise me. And then of course you go look at the Spanish economy, you look at the economy of the whole European Union, and you say, actually, yeah, it makes more sense for them to give the money back, because at the same time, with all of the astronomical numbers in football, especially being spent in Europe, especially being spent in the Premier League and La Liga, just to give two examples, you think, well, hang on a minute, right? 80 odd million for one player. There's talks of Paul Pogba going to Manchester United for 100 million. Right? The same 80 odd million, 100 million. Listen, we can go and sort out health systems, education systems, housing systems. That's the same amount of money. Or at least go and take some of it and start something. That's the same amount of money. I'm only talking about the services of one player. And then of course, that money that we're going to spend on this one player comes from public funding. From the government as a loan. What? So the government wants to tell me there's not enough money to go build new houses, right? Or to keep local hospitals up, to take homeless people off the streets, but there's money to go and sign a footballer. What?
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's one of them ones. It really is. It's really a case of,
It's a fucking circus!
it's the only way I could describe it. It's like football seems to be in this bubble, and it really shouldn't be.
Oh no, it's when you look at things like that, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying to you that the people that get paid that money shouldn't get paid it. Of course they should. If you were able to negotiate that deal, listen, well done to you, because that is, absolutely off the charts business acumen and everything else. But in terms of, does it actually reflect anything in the real world? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So that part of it I disagree with. And then of course we want to talk about Lionel Messi and his dad being given a suspended prison sentence. Right? If this is anybody else in Spain, anybody else in Catalonia, other than Lionel Messi and his dad, right? Anybody else who's not a sports person, they're not getting a suspended sentence. Which just goes to show the horrific double standards when it comes to the wealthy, sports personalities, and of course, people that are regarded as heroes in certain areas when it comes to court cases. I mean, how he's managed not to go to jail on this, I have no idea. None. And I know that the answer is money, but at the same time, look, this is one of those cases where the judge should be making a statement. And the statement is, the law's the law. You broke the law, therefore you go to prison. Simple. So how this doesn't equate here, I don't know. Other than to say to you, in terms of the Spanish economy, Lionel Messi is very, very important. Right? Because I says to you, honestly, if you go and take Lionel Messi away from Barcelona and away from La Liga, which you would do for 21 months if he was to go to jail, right? There's a lot less people watching La Liga, a lot less people watching Barcelona, a lot less people paying for merchandise, etc., etc. All of that goes down the drain, and that's the only reason I can think of as to why he doesn't go to jail. Because I says to you, if it was any other ordinary citizen in Spain that had done the same thing, they're going to jail, and that's that.
Of course. But then that's the thing. For me, Messi and other high-profile people should adhere to the same tax rules as everyone else. There shouldn't be this one rule for the rich, one rule for everyone else. it's like bugger that. It's like bugger that, because then you're basically changing the laws. You're literally moving the goalpost. So it's one that was I think Messi and other high profile people should adhere to the same tax rules that we all do. So, but it's like bugger that. I'm having a bar of it. But I mean, Brad Hicks, you wanted to jump in on these stories that we just mentioned as well.
Yeah, well, the thing about this is, look at the status of these clubs that you mentioned. How many clubs did you mention, and who were they?
There was there was Valencia, Hercules, Elche, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao, and Osasuna.
Well, Barca, Real Madrid, Valencia, and Bilbao could probably pay it. Whereas you look at the three other clubs, Osasuna, Elche, and Hercules. Osasuna and Elche are second division clubs who might not be able to pay it. I mean, they probably could, but Hercules are a second division B team. That's basically the third level, so they might be in the doo-doo, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So it really does surprise me that they've been mentioned. And on Messi, if he had served at the time, he probably would have been out in 6 months for good behaviour.
It would have been one of them ones similar to Oscar Pistorius. It's like, all right, cool, you're under house arrest. Go for a couple of weeks, then you're under house arrest. It's like, oh, come on, really? It's like, don't even get me started on that story. But it just beggars belief how these entities can get away with it, and they're allowed to get away with it for 20. I mean, I said 20 plus years. Some of this stuff went unchecked, and it's like, oh, you just face palm at it. Really do, just face. I just have to face palm at it. It's like, what the hell is this? I'm just hoping that these punishments they start getting handed out to a lot more clubs. I really hope so. I hope they bring these kind of punishments to the Premier League if anyone's been fiddling stuff as well. Personally, punish uniformly and in a draconian fashion. It's the way I'm looking at it. Lionel Messi, you can afford to pay taxes, and you or your advisors or whoever basically chose not to. So